Let's get started. Welcome to our webinar, Launch Day Keys to Success, Part 5 of our webinar series, Marketing Director's Guide, Prepping for a Website Redesign. My name is Diana Martinez, and I'm the Director of Experiences here at Solid Digital. My role focuses on both client and employee experiences, but for the purposes of this webinar, I'm going to be focusing on my role during the prep and day of launch, and how we help our clients take this great milestone and add a company culture spin to it. But before we get started, I would like to introduce two launch experts who have hundreds of website launches under their collective belts and are here to give you some insights on how to take on launch day head on. First, we have Hayley Johnson, one of our project managers. She's intimately involved with projects from the start and helps our clients navigate the ins and outs of getting their new website live. And Travis McHattie, our COO and partner, he has over 20 years of experience and has helped with website launches for everyone, from small businesses to high availability e-commerce websites. So let's get started. There is a lot that goes on into getting ready for the big day. This is why our team has narrowed it down to some key actions that you can take to ensure your launch day is a success and you actually get to have fun while celebrating this big win. During this webinar, we'll cover launch prep, technology testing, and contingency plans, launch plan, and celebration. As the marketing director's right-hand woman in all projects, Hayley will share with us some insights on how to establish a successful pre-launch plan and share some of her actions and share some actions to take to get your pre-launch phase ready.
Thanks, Diana. In our experience, the biggest fear we see around launching a new website is having a site go live that doesn't work or having the site go down. However, there are several key aspects you can use to ensure a website goes live without a hitch, and preparation is definitely one of them. As launching a website typically involves many different players, it is very much a team effort. Identifying the key members of your team and the roles they'll need to play helps to ensure your ability to properly prepare. At Solid, we prepare our teams for launch by completing pre-launch checklists, which outline everything that must be done before a site can go live, conducting a pre-launch meeting, which is where we confirm pre-launch checklists are complete, communicate any risks, and also create backup plans. We also will create the timeline, which is where we get a commitment from the team on exactly when and how launch will take place. Launching a website is a coordinated effort, so it's important that each team member and partner knows exactly what they're doing and when to do it. Pre-launch checklists are a huge help. Our team puts together a checklist that outlines the responsibilities of each team member and project partner. It provides the tasks that they need to complete in order for the launch to be successful. Each team member is responsible for completing their items and/or alerting the team if they become blocked. Giving the team enough time to complete each step is crucial, as any delays could potentially affect the launch date. Here's an example snippet of one of our checklists. Note that it has a clearly defined task, an area for the user to mark the task as complete, and a place to update a status or add comments for the rest of the team. A couple weeks before we're ready to launch, we also schedule a pre-launch meeting to confirm completion of the pre-launch checklists and to discuss any potential risks. We like to ask questions like, have we completed everything that we need to? Is there anything else that needs to be done that maybe wasn't included on the pre-launch checklist or that we learned about in the meantime? This is the perfect time to make backup plans and workarounds. We also get a launch commitment from the full team. We want to make sure that launching the site is realistic at this time and that everyone on the team can commit to making it happen. The pre-launch meeting is also the perfect setting to communicate with the internal team about the timing of launch, what it's going to take to get there, and when exactly it will actually be visible to the general public. We like to make sure that we get the buy-in needed for the big day here. So you've made your lists, you've checked them twice, and now you have buy-in from your team. Now to get that launch booked. So you're going to want to add milestones, big and small, to the calendar. One of the things that we have found success with is creating a calendar event to ensure everyone is on time and doesn't forget that it's launch day. Also, Be sure that everyone knows that the itinerary for go live well in advance. This way, there's time to change it if you need to, and everyone knows when they'll be able to get answers for the questions that inevitably arise. We like to protect our timeline at all costs. So websites are wonderful marketing tools, but don't bite off more than you can chew by trying to do everything the same day. For example, hold off on hosting that new webinar or launching your new campaigns at the same time, really even within the same week. Launching a website is a big effort, but it's worth it. Just don't bite off more than you can chew. Also give yourself extra time around target dates. Once you have your timeline in place, you'll want to be able to communicate the schedule. So make sure your team players know exactly what's happening and when. Ideally, keep the discussion of exact timing limited to the project team until after everything's been tested and confirmed that it's good to go. And while it's important to get a solid launch plan in place, it's also important to ensure that everything will actually look and function as intended once it goes live. Travis is going to tell you how to make that a reality.
Great, thank you, Hayley. Going live is a big deal. Usually there are teams of people involved in getting the website ready, and the whole process can be very stressful. Even, some of our clients we find are kind of scared to go live and come up with reasons to push back the launch date. This fear usually comes from not feeling prepared. And from our experience, the greatest fears are having like long periods of downtime, key functionality that isn't working well, or after the site launch, finding some kind of big SEO or lead generation disaster. Now, I know we have a variety of people joining us today, so potentially different roles and experience in your companies. I'm going to cover what we do for our clients, but just know that everything I'm sharing could be applied to your situation, agency, or team. So overall, the plan's simple. We try to get our clients ready for a website launch by being prepared, having a shared communication plan, and always keeping our focus on the end goal. When you're working with your team, like contractors or agency, it's okay to ask them what they do to address these key areas. Knowing the process should only help you feel more confident. And if it leaves you feeling not confident, then at least you have some key areas that you could focus on and improve to get ready. I could have added flexibility to this list as well, because not all websites go to plan and some go way off of plan, but just know that there's always an option if something is going too badly, or the team could have the option to roll back, regroup, and try again once the issues are resolved. Let's dive into the preparation that we go through to have a smooth launch first. So to start, we address the fear about quality right off. As marketers, your website not only needs to look great, but the key functionality has to work. And if you have a lead generation site, you need to make sure that you're capturing those leads. And if e-commerce site has to be able to take orders, those are musts. So everything starts with having a test plan, and test plans make your testing process more repeatable, predictable, and reliable. And you can see from the little video that's playing, it clearly communicates what's been tested. And if you're working with an agency, seeing the test plan ahead of time, as well as the results, could help build your confidence that they're doing what they can to maintain a quality release. At least if something goes wrong, you know that they have a good plan, and it's not because of lack of attention or effort. These initial tests are usually performed on a staging server. That's an environment that mimics the live environment as closely as it can, but isn't live yet to the public. You can make these changes there and through the testing, and without really worrying about your customers seeing it. And the launch script is the last part of this, which is a series of steps that your development team should perform in order to migrate the website from the testing environment to a live environment. This script includes things like moving assets, data from your database, code files. Any manual changes are needed to be made post-launch, but it helps give the people doing the launch a step-by-step plan of what to do. I should also mention that the traffic of your website matters a lot too. There are different ways of dealing with a no downtime situation versus a low downtime or minimal downtime situation. We find that most clients are fine with having a low planned minimal downtime. But if you have a site that's a high traffic e-commerce site that needs zero downtime, there are also strategies for that too, but those would take more thought and care. Remember that the test plan was created And the launch team should expect to go back through the test plan after the site was launched. So use it in your staging environment and your live environment. So a few notes around the communication. The group that's helping you should provide all the pre-launch communication, as Hayley mentioned, which includes things like when code and content changes should freeze and stop being worked on, and make sure that late changes don't get introduced and cause issues, as well as the schedule and details about the site launch. In our agency, this is all done by our project management team, and they communicate with the clients along the way. And then the day of, the team performing the updates should follow their plan and provide updates to as far as where they are in the process. At Solid Digital, we oftentimes create a virtual meeting like Google Meet or something like that, where the project team stays connected and keeps communicating as things are happening. And then we release key communication out to our clients. So we feel that leaving clients in the dark for too long could cause unnecessary stress, but so does over communication. So, whoever you're working with should have a plan, stick to it, and hopefully everybody really appreciates it. The final progress update is the good one. It's like you're ready, you're good, you're now live. So on launch day, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of the people doing the actual work in the launch, and just know that this is probably what your agency is going to be going through. In order to accomplish a smooth launch, we should really minimize distractions, again, as Hayley mentioned, clear schedules, reduce unnecessary communication, and to be helpful. Even as a client, you'll feel similar emotions on your side, so you're going to want to make sure your day is light as well. Even though there's a lot of preparation, practice, and communication, website launches don't always go to plan. So it's important that the team gets prepared as much as they can so that they can more quickly address items that do crop up. Because they're prepared in other areas, it'll make it easier to deal with things when you get surprised. The most common kinds of surprise are usually some kind of data or integration issue where you find out that something's missing from one environment to another, or different from a sandbox environment to a live environment. And you'll be better prepared to deal with those issues if you've kept track of everything else. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. Part of a good launch plan includes a rollback plan. If a website launch is really going sideways, we have our team roll back and start again another day. It's not always an easy discussion with our clients, but in the case we decide to do that for a good reason, we lean on one of our core values of honest guidance and doing the right thing. And that's doing the right thing even when it's hard. In order to prepare, tongue-tied, in order to prepare for potential issues, it's important to know what some of them are. So let me go through some of those. So content and code freezes. Sometimes there's a tendency to try to get everything in up until the go live time. And that's like changing content, changing code and functionality. This is a bad idea. We want to avoid this at all costs, unless you can't. Any changes made in the last minute could introduce something that you don't expect. Another item is DNS caching, and this is most often occurs when you're moving from one server to another. But if you're doing any kind of moving from one server to another, you should absolutely be working with your IT teams and making sure that the caching across the internet is set to the lowest possible level. Because sometimes you'll see it takes a while to get it all around the internet, but then also in larger corporations where you have internal IT teams, sometimes you have internal DNS to where everyone else in the internet is seeing the correct site, but inside your own offices, you're seeing the old site. So you want to make sure you're working with the IT teams on that. Redirects. If your previous site was ranking well for SEO content, your marketing team or agency needs to make sure that the old pages redirect to the new pages to try to maintain some of that SEO equity that you've already built up. You don't want to lose a bunch of your search rankings because of the migration. Test settings, those are configuration values that are good for staging, but they should not come over to live. And again, a good agency should have checks and balances to ensure that no test settings are ever on production. And lastly, a rollback plan. It's easy to create. It's obvious to create a launch plan. Sometimes it's not obvious to create a rollback plan, but you're going to want to make sure this is in place, because if you go live, something goes wrong and you don't have a rollback plan, you're basically stuck fixing it until it's done. Not good. So that's it. Easy peasy. Next up is Diana, and she'll be covering arguably the most important step in a website launch, the celebration.
Thanks, Travis. Now that Hayley and Travis have shared with you some key insights on how to make your launch planning and day of launch as smooth as possible, let's talk about celebration. We understand that with so much going on at the time of launch, the last thing marketing directors want to do is add another thing to their plate. But really, hear me out. This is such an important milestone that missing out on highlighting it would just be a missed opportunity, and you might potentially regret it. I know that you might be thinking, I don't have time to plan a celebration with also getting this website launch. And that may be true, but making an effort to plan something, even if it's small, it's better than nothing. So let's talk about the 3 simple reasons why a celebration is important. Acknowledge, strengthen culture, and showcase your work are the 3 reasons why I want to encourage you to ensure that a celebration is part of your website redesign plan. A milestone this big gives you the opportunity to get your whole team together and use this event to provide team recognition, showcase your work both internally and externally, and most importantly, it gives you an opportunity to strengthen your culture. As part of our process, myself and our CEO, Jesse McCabe, usually reach out to our clients sometime before launch and ask to have a separate meeting just to discuss what their idea is or if they have a plan for launch. And we have found that we get 3 common responses. One, which is often, they have not even thought about it and are not even sure where to start or how to move forward. The second answer is they would like to do something and they have a few ideas but are not really sure where to start. And the rarest one, but the most amazing one I love to hear, is that they have a plan and they're ready to go and they're ready to celebrate. So although a celebration plan may vary from client to client, it's worth having one and including all 3 elements. So acknowledgement, let's be honest, let's just be honest, everybody likes to be recognized for a job well done. And as a marketing director, this gives you an opportunity to recognize your team for their hard work. Employee and peer recognition goes a long way, and recognition actually helps employees build a sense of security in their value to the company and continues motivating them to continue the great work. Many times the team that is working on the actual website redesign are working independently from the rest of the company. And although some people may be aware that the project is happening, they don't actually have visibility in seeing how much effort is going into this project to get the website to launch. So this is an opportunity for you and your team to shine and showcase all the hard work that you have been doing. For example, we have a client, they didn't have a lot of time to put a big celebration together. So they decided to create an internal newsletter to their team. They decided to highlight the hard work of those involved, share the stories of what it took to get to launch and how the website was going to be bringing value to their customers and how it was going to help the team internally. We decided to help them out by creating a custom graphic to add to the newsletter so we could tie it all together and make that celebration spirit happen. So if you don't have time to do something big, something as simple as a newsletter can be a great way to acknowledge your team and celebrate. And then for us, we are a culture-driven company and have created so many traditions along the way, not only for us to celebrate our victories and celebrate and appreciate our project team, but also appreciate and celebrate our clients and what it has meant for us to work with them. Some examples of the things that we do, this is probably one of my favorite ones, is dressing up in our clients' brand colors. And then we take pictures and create a thread in Basecamp and just share those pictures with them. We let everybody on our team join the thread and they're able to just jump on there and share some words of excitement with our client and share more information about just the experience overall that we had with them. Also, our team loves music and we have a few musicians also on staff. So we enjoy creating playlists for the day of launch. They're usually inspired by our clients and whether it's related to the work that the company does, or sometimes it's just related to the project and things that the songs remind us of. Sometimes some songs of our favorite client, our clients' favorite songs if they happen to mention them when we are having conversations. But simple ways like taking a photo or creating a playlist allow us to share the excitement that we're having on launch and sharing that with our clients, even if we're not in the same physical space. We have found that things like this can be a fun experience in what sometimes could be a very stressful time. But that is just like something small that we try to do internally. At the same time, our team is working behind the scenes to ensure everything's going smoothly for our clients. And the playlists, to be honest, have been a huge hit for us because our clients can also share them internally with their teams and then add more songs and keep the celebration going. So most of our clients that we work with have shared with us that company culture is something that they find very important to be part of their business. And the website launch is an opportunity to bring their team together, to highlight their journey of what it took to get to where they are right now, and how this milestone is going to help them reach their goals to where they see themselves in the future. Ideally, hosting a company-wide event to celebrate would create a strong sense of culture and also allow their team to really celebrate and be proud of this company achievement. So if you get the opportunity to do that, I would highly recommend it. We recently had a client that went above and beyond. This was a client that was very prepared, as I mentioned, those rare ones, but they went above and beyond with their celebration. They actually invited us to participate in their virtual presentation / party. And I'm going to say / party because it was truly just a big celebration. Everybody was there with the company. They had branded Zoom backgrounds, and we got to hear from the CEO and a couple of people that were involved with the website redesign. To the surprise of everybody, they also mailed out some like cool celebration boxes, and the team got to open them at some point during the presentation. And the box included shirts, stickers, and other goodies with the new branding. And I think not only did that bring people together, not because of the items or anything like that, but because they were revealing the website and then also having everybody, getting all those things and representing their brand. And you can tell that people were really excited. So if you're launching a new website, it's not an excuse. If it's not an excuse to celebrate with your team, I really don't know what is, because this is a fantastic opportunity to have some fun. And last but not least, showcase your work. This is so importantly, I honestly think that everybody should be showcasing their work internally. Marketing directors, this is your big opportunity to shine, but also don't stop there. Share your website with the public. Were there major improvements to your user experience? Let your customers know, send them a message, invite them to check that website. If your website makes shopping or ordering easier, tie your new website experience with a special offer. The idea is to inform your user on how your website will be providing them value, whether it's an easier way to log into the employee portal or a vendor being able to search products in a more efficient way. Whatever the improvement is, let your users know that you have heard their pain points and that you are providing solutions. It really goes a long way. Also, most marketing directors put together a plan on how they're going to be leveraging their website for their marketing goals, and how they're going to be using that to measure their efforts to see their digital value grow and improve. So now to recap all the things that we have shared, I'm going to end with 4 highlights here. Number 1, we want to make sure you involve all the key players for launch early on in the process and communicate along the way to form your launch plan. 2, spend time on your planning, but realize that the most success actually lies when you're thinking on your feet and knowing what to do in case something unexpected happens. So make sure you're setting up yourself for success. 3, don't miss out on the celebration, whether big or small. This really take this opportunity to incorporate a celebration for this big milestone and celebrate with your team. And last but not least, your website is such a powerful tool that you can leverage for your marketing efforts and ensure that you have a plan on how you're going to utilize it after launch. So thank you for your time, and we hope that you are now more prepared to enjoy the process and take that step to celebrate and accomplish on getting your website launched. Because remember, just because the website is live, that doesn't mean the work ends there. So now it's time to focus on growth. Stay tuned for our next webinar with our digital marketing strategist, Marla Astrop, who will be diving deeper on growth after a website redesign. So thanks for your time. And now we're gonna open it to some Q&A.
Hey guys, nice job. So first question I have is from Neil, and he's asking, is there a day or time of the week that you prefer to launch a website?
I take that one. So I think that it depends on the type of business that you're operating within. If you're not under a high traffic or heavy customer time, if your business isn't that kind of business, I would say do the time that's convenient for everybody. Do when you're going to have support staff available to fix issues and you have the support needed. Now, if you're an e-commerce business or you have a ton of traffic or you need people to people use your site as a functional tool, then analytics should be your guide. Knowing, for some of our clients, they know that they're in the Midwest and that most people are on their site during their typical workday. So doing it any time after 5 or 6 on a weekday is okay. But if you're in e-commerce, I've been at an e-commerce company where we had to do ours in 2 in the morning. It just kind of depends on your analytics. But in most cases, you could do it in the middle of the day if it doesn't require otherwise.
And then this probably could go to you, Hayley, but what, like during like the launch day, like what do you usually expect or need from the client on their side while going through launch?
So a lot of times during the launch day, there are going to be questions that pop up from the client side. So we like to, that's part of the launch day, setting aside the time for those questions that pop up and making sure they know what's going to happen when, so they can answer some of those questions for their team themselves. But setting aside those dedicated times where they know that they're going to be able to get answers, that's really key because everyone has different questions, but everyone always has questions. And so making sure that they have a time to get those answers, that's been really important.
Anything else to add there, Travis or Dan? Okay, and then the last question I have here from Melissa, how long does it take to launch a website?
Yes, that would be me too.
Yeah.
I hate to answer with it depends, but it truly does depend. If you're hosted on a site, like say you're running a WordPress site on your own WordPress engine and they have built-in tools to promote a staging website to a live website, it could be a matter of minutes. If you have a pretty big application that has a lot of data that needs to get migrated, they could be hours. And if you have one of those situations that I told you that went sideways, it could be days. So I can tell you that typically most of them are about an hour from the time you collect everything, get it all prepared, do it. But the actual work of being down is usually a few minutes if everything goes well. Or if it's a larger one, it could take a couple hours. Should also mention on that, the time of doing the work is not nearly as much as getting ready to do the work.
The more prepared you are, the less time you have to actually take on the day. Yeah. Awesome. I think that's it. Unless you guys have anything else to add, I think we can close this up.
No, thank you for everybody that joined. And we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.
Yes, thank you.